I just completed 2 international trips recently with Spirit Airlines, the ultra low-cost budget airline of the United States of America. Is it really worth it? Let's find out. So before I tell you some information about Spirit Airlines and give you some insider tips, I want to tell you about my experience. I've taken Spirit Airlines 2 times, once from Colombia to the United States, and then also from the United States to Panama. Now, the first time I flew from Colombia to the United States with Spirit Airlines, there was a delay because of weather and many different issues, and eventually the flight got canceled and it was postponed to the next day. They put us up in a hotel, gave us some food, transportation. That was a good part on it, but the overall organization and communication was horrible, and it was probably one of my worst airline experiences so far. Now, just recently, last night, I flew from the United States to Panama with Spirit Airlines. It was a really low cost, and also I chose this flight because I had a voucher that I received from that first flight, and the voucher was $50 per person. And I went to book my ticket and I couldn't use the voucher. There was a place to put the voucher in, but it wasn't accepting it. I don't know what the problem was, so I called up customer support and they told me that they can do it manually. So they started doing it manually, and then they told me the prices, and the prices were completely different from what I was doing on my end, because I was going to have to pay an agent fee and many other extra costs. So basically what happened is she said, well, I don't know why it's not working on your end, but it works on my end, so the voucher is valid. And what it turns out to be is that you just can't really use these vouchers, and they only give you $50, which is nothing. So that $50 can only be used for the actual tariff of the airplane, without taxes, without any sort of fees. So basically, in the long run, if you can find a flight where the main price of the flight, without taxes and all that stuff, is $50, then you can use it. But it's going to be probably hard to put it into the portal box that you have to submit it through, because it has to be exact. So the voucher situation with Spirit Airlines is a headache. I will get more into that after, but let me carry on about my experience, this time coming to Panama with Spirit Airlines. Now, I flew from Fort Lauderdale. It's a popular destination where Spirit is flying from, and the flight was really delayed. There was many flights delayed that day. There was some severe weather happening in that area, which is understandable. But also with this flight I just took, the communication still wasn't that great, especially being at the gate, waiting for the plane, having it being delayed, having the gate changed last minute, and them just not really being too communicative with the people that are going to be flying and letting them know why it's being delayed. We have no idea. They just said it's going to be delayed. So it didn't go so great, but I did complete the trip. It was successful. It was comfortable. It wasn't too scary. There wasn't really any bad issues like mechanical or anything like that. Okay, so I've now taken 4 flights with Spirit Airlines, and honestly, every time I have taken it, even though 2 of them were domestic and 2 of them were international, the price was pretty good. That's why I chose it. Spirit Airlines is definitely budget. The prices are low, and it's because you pay for what you get. But yes, what you pay for is what you are going to get on this airplane. It is low budget. I mean, it doesn't get any more basic than that. All right, so I want to break this down into a few different categories, and I don't want to make this video too long, so let's kind of talk about some history of Spirit Airlines first. Basically, Spirit Airlines has been around for a very long time, more than 20 years. The company itself, actually, because before it was a truck company, and then it kind of merged into the airline business, and it's been going ever since. Now, Spirit is up and coming, I would say. They're definitely doing a lot of promotions, and their prices are very low, and they want that kind of target. They want to be that low-cost airline, and it's good. People in the United States, they want a cheap option sometimes, so it's good to have that. Now, Spirit Airlines was thinking about merging or joining with another airline. 1, Frontier, and 2, JetBlue. Now, What happened is they wanted to join with Frontier because that would make them the 5th largest airline in the US. And I'm not sure if that really happened. You can kind of look it up and probably find the answer for yourself. But they do have Spirit Airlines, they do have Frontier operating with both logos on different planes, so maybe they're kind of a collective airline, I don't know. But the other one was JetBlue. JetBlue wanted to kind of buy out Spirit Airlines, but Spirit Airlines didn't want that to happen because then they know JetBlue would probably take away that low cost airline price and make it a little bit more expensive. Anyways, in the past couple years, they wanted to bring in about 100 new Airbuses. I don't even know if they ever made this purchase and converted them, but the reason for it is because they saw potential in the company growing and the more popularity of it. Now, in the last few years, I've been hearing about it more and more, and they've been expanding more international, so it totally makes sense why they want to do this. But one thing they were really talking about, and I don't know if it's true, is they wanted to make their low-cost airplane to have one of the strongest and best high-speed Wi-Fi's on board any aircraft in the US. I don't know if they completed this, as with Spirit Airlines you have to pay for the internet no matter what, so you don't find out about that until you pay. At one point in 2015, the airline was ranked the worst for having the best arrival time. Now, that was out of 13 airline companies that were based in the United States. Today it has changed and they've moved up the list a lot higher, but not quite to the top. But, which is very cool, is that in 2018, the airline was ranked in the top 10 in the world for most safe flights to take. Now that's pretty good. Now every flight I have been on, it hasn't sounded like the plane was gonna blow up or anything was going to happen. It was pretty good. The pilots were trustworthy and the flight staff was really cool. The flights have always been pretty smooth. Good landings, good takeoffs. All right, now let's talk about on board, the amenities, and all of these things that you can find in the aircraft. Now, economy is really basic. The seat does not move. There's no going back or reclining of the seat. There's no button. The only thing is the armrest does come up, which is nice, so that's a good thing. But the padding on the seat is very minimal. Some of them actually don't even have like the extra head padding. Even in the economy section, there's some room for your legs, so it's good for the average person, I would say. Maybe not for somebody that's very tall, might be a little more uncomfortable. There is a tray table to put your stuff, but it's about the size of a mini iPad, so you can't really put much up there. And the pocket behind the seat is just some strings, so you can put like a very few items in there, small things. There's no way to put it there, it's just going to fall. But in terms of economy to premium economy, there's a little difference, not much. Now, in terms of like the amenities on board, there's no display screens to play games, watch movies. There's none of that. There's no outlets to charge your phone. The only other amenity there really is food, right? You know, when you go on an airplane, depending on where you're going, you get some snacks, you get something to drink to pass your time. Well, with Spirit, whether you're domestic or international, you pay for your snacks. So you can see it in the app, you can see it on the booklet, how much everything costs, but nothing is free with Spirit Airlines. That's the bad part about economy and Spirit Airlines in general, is you have to pay for pretty much everything. It's bare minimum, pay for the rest. All right, let's talk about the pricing of the actual seats, the class, the baggage, and those things. Now, booking it online is very easy. Of course, they have an app, they have a website. It's all functional, it's very easy to use. It's a great interface for people that are looking to search for flights. Now, where Spirit gets you is baggage, paying for your check bag and paying for your carry-on bag. Honestly, in my opinion, if you're somebody like me who maybe travels with one checked bag and then just carries a backpack with them, you can get away with just the checked bag and bring the backpack. You can kind of stuff the bag too, and you'll be fine. You know, the one thing that is different is when you go onto the airplane and you have a backpack, just do not put your backpack above, because that is for the carry-on. That's if you pay for that, and maybe you can get in trouble if they catch you doing that, but to be honest, just get your backpack, get your personal item, and you put it under your seat. Anything that goes under your seat is a personal item. So do not pay for the carry-on unless you actually need the carry-on, because it is expensive. I don't remember the pricing exactly, but one bag checked, one bag carry-on is I think $100 or something total combined. And depending on when you buy it, before the flight, online, at the airport, the prices will vary and they keep getting more expensive the closer to your flight date. Also, the problem with this airline is they overbook a lot. So you will buy your ticket and then, a few days before your flight or even the day of your flight, you will get emails saying, place your bid to have your flight postponed. And basically what happens is you can have your flight postponed and they'll put you up in a hotel somewhere because they sold too many tickets. And another thing is the seats. They get you with the seat pricing. So if you're traveling with people and you want to sit next to each other, you have to pay for the seats. That's where they're going to get you on that price. I don't remember exactly the seating pricing, but I think from what I've seen is that it is cheaper the further back in the plane you go. Now, my recommendation is just don't pay for a seat. Just let them pick a seat for you and it'll be fine. And one other thing is the vouchers. Now, if you do get a voucher for some reason, just be aware that it's going to be difficult to use this. So really try not to get a voucher, and if you can, try to get your money back or a refund. All right, to review this video and to recap, I want to break it down into 4 categories and give you some ratings. So the ratings in the categories are going to be best out of 10, and the 4 categories are the overall review of the airline in the whole experience, based on my experience, the review of the flight staff, the flight crew, the pilots, the customer service, and the overall comfortability of this airline. So first is the comfortability of the Spirit aircraft, the Airbus, that's what you normally are flying on. I would give the comfortability maybe a 5 out of 10 because it's just not that comfortable. If you are flying a very long distance, bring a neck pillow. It's going to help. Maybe a blanket or something to stay warm because it gets very cold in there. The next one is customer service. Now this is talking about at the gate, the check-in, online, and all of those things. In my experience, the customer service would be a 4 out of 10. I just do not think their customer service is that great. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people working for Spirit Airlines and they're doing a great job, and props to them. But some of the other people, they're just there to take your money, I feel like. Next are the flight attendants and the pilots. Now, every one of the flights I have been on, I have found the flight attendants and the pilots to be very welcoming, very friendly, they're very smiley, they're very chatty, and sometimes they're even making jokes and making you laugh. So that's a great thing. It makes you feel a lot more comfortable when you are flying with this airline, as for some people, flying is very terrifying. And lastly, it's just a review of the airline overall. Now, in my opinion, based on my experience, I'd give this airline like a 6 out of 10. Now, that's based on all airlines. I know it is a low-cost airline, but for me, it's just not the greatest airline. But if you're looking for low budget, it's good. It's good. Maybe it's like a 9 out of 10 for low-budget airlines, But I think they have some improvements to do, and over the years, I think they're going to get more popular and things will change. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and eventually probably taking another flight with Spirit Airlines somewhere and comparing the differences between all of my experiences. All right, those are my thoughts and opinions on Spirit Airlines, and I hope you have the chance to experience them, try it out, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think about this airline. Was it worth it? Is it worth it? Will you take it in the future? Do you think people should take it? But that's going to be it for the video, and thank you for watching this review about Spirit Airlines, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.